Welcome to Fresh from the Field Fridays with Dan the Produce Man, bringing you what's fresh, local, and in season. From field updates to what's hitting store shelves and the hot industry topics you need to know, we've got the produce insights you crave. Only on the Produce Industry Network.
Well, hello everyone and welcome to Fresh from the Field Fridays on this lovely, lovely Friday here in the San Francisco Bay. Dan the Produce Man here with you, and today's Fresh from the Field Fridays is brought to you by the Produce Industry Network, powered by Ag Life Media. Check out aglifemedia.com today for all your groovy goodies on what's happening in the world of agriculture: fresh produce, poultry, beef, pork, chicken, fish, and everything else that goes with it. That's right, folks. aglifemedia.com. All right, folks, here, Fresh from the Field Fridays. I'm fresh back from the Organic Produce Summit in Monterey, and I'm going to be going back to Monterey next week for the food service conference as well. But today, let's just get right into some of the really cool goodies that we have here on the table here for this time of the year in the summertime. And what we have here are squash blossoms. That's right, folks. Look at these. One of the finest sensational ingredients of the summer. They have a very delicate, slightly sweet flavor with subtle notes of young zucchini or summer squash. And they're prized because they're only available for a short time, and they're extremely perishable. And so what are squash blossoms? Well, squash blossoms are the edible flowers of the zucchini and other summer squashes. Male blossoms grow on long, thin stems, and they're preferred for cooking because if you remove those, it doesn't affect the production of the squash on your plants. Female squash blossoms are attached to tiny developing squash, and you'll see those as well in the farmers markets and in the specialty stores with a little bit of squash attached to the end of them, or a squash with a blossom attached to the end of them. Those can also be eating, but if you're growing them, harvesting them reduces your squash harvest in your yard. But hey, a lot of chefs love these. The flavor is mild. It's slightly sweet. It's a delicate squash flavor. The tender petals with soft texture because it's just nice and delicate. I guess that's pretty much it. But a lot of culinary uses are stuffed. They gently open the blossom because they will start to close. And let me see if I can show you that. All right, those of you listening, check out the Rumble channel for the video, and you can see the tender inside of the squash blossom. They stuff them with, chefs stuff them, or you can do it at home, ricotta, goat cheese, burrata, mascarpone, cream cheese, fresh herbs, Parmesan, mozzarella, crab, lobster, shrimp, chorizo, corn. A lot of folks pan fry them, deep fry them, or bake them, or air fry them. Or tempura. That is one of the most famous preparations. The blossoms are dipped in an ultra light tempura batter and then fried. Pasta. You can tear the blossoms into strips and add them into the pasta right at the last minute before you're getting ready to serve it. These are excellent with brown butter, olive oil, garlic, lemon zest, Parmesan, fresh basil, cherry tomatoes, pizza. You can scatter the blossoms over a pizza during the final minutes of the baking. You don't want to just throw them in there. They pair great with fresh mozzarella, like bufala, okay? Ricotta, prosciutto, pancetta, corn, roasted garlic, quesadillas. You can do them with Oaxacan cheese or Monterey Jack, queso fresco. Epazote, which is a Mexican herb that's out of sight in flavor. It's pretty strong, so you got to watch how much you use. Roasted poblanos is always good. Tacos, all right. Quick saute blossoms with onion, garlic, corn, peppers, and finish with queso fresca and salsa verde. Omelets and frittatas, risotto, soups, salads, flatbreads, bruschetta, crepes, stuffed and grilled stir fries, grain bowls. seafood pairings with lobster, shrimp, scallops, halibut, salmon, gourmet appetizers, and of course the best pairings are ricotta, burrata, goat cheese, parmesan, pecorino, mozzarella, basil, mint, chives, thyme, oregano, parsley, sweet corn, tomatoes, zucchini, mushrooms, peppers, eggplant, and of course other proteins as well. So squash blossoms, they're happening right now. They're in the stores. You might find them in major retailers. I'm not quite sure. I know you'll find them at the farmer's market. I found these at a specialty store. You need to use these within 24 to 48 hours after you purchase them because they'll break down and they'll just go bad. And just refrigerate them. Like these came in a nice clamshell. And let me grab my glasses here so I can tell you who this particular grower is. It is, looks like it says Borba Farms in Aromas, California. So squash blossoms, baby. These are awesome. And chefs love them because they're a seasonal thing so they can light up their summer menu. And they are visually stunning and they pair beautifully with a lot of different fruits. They're one of the summer's most elegant ingredients, whether they're stuffed lightly, battered, folded in a pasta, or however way you want to do it. And speaking of squash blossoms, check out this scallopini squash. Look at this. Beautiful, huh? All right. It's also known as one of the patty pans. You've got the summer squash. It's very light in color. And some of these other patty pan. And this is one of the oldest cultivated summer squashes in the world. Its ancestors were first domesticated in Central America and Mexico 8 to 10,000 years ago before spreading throughout North America with the indigenous natives. And then the early European settlers, they embraced this squash because it's very unique. You know, it's scalloped here on the side. And by the 1700s, it pretty much had become a staple in colonial gardens. The name patty pan comes from its resemblance here on the scalloped ends, resembling the fluted pans that they once used for baking pastries. So here you go. Here's a piece of history. You cook these bad boys, and you cook them just like you would a zucchini or any type of yellow squash or summer squash. Absolutely delicious. Now, the sunburst squash, with this beautiful bright golden yellow color, this is a modern hybrid. It was developed by plant breeders in the late 20th century and bred for this golden, beautiful, brilliant yellow color. It's an earlier maturity than the scallopini and a lot of high yields on the plants. It's kind of buttery, slightly sweet in flavor, and certainly it's eye-catching in appearance. It's become one of the most popular modern varieties of the patty pan squashes, proving that even ancient vegetables can be given a fresh new twist. All right, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back after this.
From the fields of Hawaii produce, where generations of growers nurture the land, born from the same rich soil that produces our famous onions, Hawaii mint oil is pure, soft, and naturally sweet. With a smooth, earthy aroma, it's a refreshing addition to recipes, diffusers, and many more. And like nature's best, it only deepens in richness and flavor over time. Grown with care, distilled to perfection, Hawaii mint oil.
Oops, you caught me chomping on a grape. All right, folks, Concord grapes. They've been an American favorite since the mid-1800s. They were developed in Concord, Massachusetts, hence the name Concord grapes. They're known for their very deep blue-purple color and very unmistakable aroma. And they have a very rich, grapey flavor. Grapey as in grape jelly, that type of flavor. Grape candy, grape juice. This is actually not this, but Concord grapes are the choice for juices, jams, jellies. But it's not the interior of the grape that's used. It's the deep colored skin that slides off of the grape that's inside. That's what's used for the juice that you find in the stores, a Concord grape juice. Now, here in California, the classic Concord type grape is the Naya Bell. It's a seeded variety, and it usually arrives in late summer. And it really delivers that rich, full Concord grape flavor. And we'll feature those as soon as the season starts. But for now, seedless Concord grapes. They're modern hybrids. They're bred by crossing Concord-type grapes with seedless varieties. And the result is this earlier season grape. It's easy to eat because it's seedless. And it offers that somewhat familiar Concord juice type flavor and, of course, the aroma. But hardcore grape lovers will tell you doesn't quite match the depth and the intensity of a fully ripe seeded Niabel or Concord grape. However, it does give the grape an earlier entry into the season, and they're perfect for anything you do with a seedless grape. It also introduces a whole new generation to that classic Concord grape taste. So when you're picking out seedless Concord grapes, look for the darkest fruit you can find, like a blueberry type flavor, very deep blue, because that's when they're fully developed in the fullest flavor and the sweetest taste. You'll notice some grapes are still more purple than blue, and those usually haven't fully matured yet and will be very noticeably more tart or even sour. So remember, the darker the grape, the better the eating experience, at least with this particular seedless Concord variety. And there's producers of these. You got someone that calls them Tom Cords, and they put them in clamshells and different things. And again, it extends the season and the flavor of the Concord grape into the earlier part of the summer. But boy, oh boy, later on, when the real ones start, that's something to be definitely checking out. That's for sure. That's for sure. All right. Let's go to the farmer's market, talk to Eric. We'll see what he's got going on with stone fruit. And then we're going to come back with one of my very favorite
All right, folks,
summer
here we
peaches.
are. Eric Arrayas here at San Leandro Bay Fair Farmer's Market once again. And it is July. Oh, yeah. And it's almost mid-July. Well, it'll be mid-July by the time you see this. So here we go. What do we got here, Eric?
Hey, how's it going, Dan? We spoke a couple months ago, and I spoke highly of the Flavor King. The Flavor King is one of my favorite varieties. It needs a pollinator in order to bear fruit. It's 70% plum, 30% apricot. This variety was produced by Dave Wilson Nursery. It's a Sacred variety, so they have the rights to this variety. I'm very lucky to have it. It's very firm right now. The weather hasn't been too warm, so they don't have that nice soft squeeze to them. Set them on your counter a couple hours, they're gonna get that. One thing I like about them, you can eat them like this, they're a little tart, or you can eat them like a very, very soft yellow peach. Juicy, ready to eat, very soft, and they actually taste like a Santa Rosa plum. So if you like that Santa Rosa old school flavor, the Flavor King has it.
There you go, folks. Now, I talked about this a few weeks ago on my podcast, and I mentioned, and Eric just mentioned, if you like your stone fruit firm like an apple, this is the way you want to get it. If you like it ripe, like Eric just expressed, and I actually like it that way too, put it in a paper bag on your counter, throw a banana or a tomato in there, get that ethylene flowing around, close the paper bag, and these things will be ripe in a couple of days.
Flavor King.
So Flavor King and its sister is coming, the Flavor Queen. Do you grow any Flavor
Yeah, we do have
Queens?
Flavor Queen. They're just a little too tart for us. Like you feel this, how it's a little firm. I'm hoping this next week we have that 103, 102 degree weather, consistent 3 days. That ripens the fruit. So next week I'm gonna have the Flavor King and Flavor Queen hopefully.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Flavor Queen is a yellow flesh piece of fruit. This is more red and orange
It transitions.
color inside.
It transitions. It actually goes from like this green yellow, like you would almost think that's a Flavor Queen.
Right.
And then when it ripens, it gets that nice dark purple color. Ooh, that's a nice one right there. Bite that right there, Dan. Bite it. I want to see it bite that. Let's go see the donut pieces. Oh yeah.
All right, donut time. All right, what's in the American diet? What do they have with their coffee in the morning?
We have donuts in the morning with our coffee, but don't you want a healthy donut? This is the yellow donut peach. It's very good. It's a little bit more mild in flavor. It's not extremely sweet, but it has this flavor I can't really put my finger on. People love it. Once they try it, they're like, hey, what's that? That's not a regular yellow peach. I would say you have to eat them when they're really, really ripe, like this yellowing color. This green is not ready. Set it on your counter. I'll get that nice color and sugar.
Absolutely. And the pit in this is very small. So you would think by looking at this that the pit is big, but it's not. It doesn't take up the whole thing. It's very small. And of course, there's many varieties. There's donut peaches, donut nectarines.
That's that pit we're talking about.
Absolutely, there you go. And that's a lot larger of the smaller pits. All right, your prize nectarine, Eric, of the season is?
This is the Honey Royal. So anything Honey Royal, Honey Variety, Honey Light, Honey Royal, Honey Diva, Honey Blaze. That variety is known as a low self-acid nectarine, which means when you bite into it, it doesn't have any tart, any sour. It's nothing but sugar, nothing but flavor. This variety, the Honey Royal, if I told you that this is a mango, you might believe it because of the flavor. We nicknamed this the Mango-licious because just, again, it has that nice flavor and sugar. So Honey Royal, again, Dave Wilson Nursery. Thank you, you guys. You guys support us with these trees, and we grow them, and the fruit produces really well.
All right, so, folks. So this is a deception, though, because for many, many years, it was the white fruit that was subacid, and now they're developing yellow fruit that is subacid. I prefer acid and yellow fruit.
Like that tart?
That's me,
Oh yeah, most definitely.
But,
Some
you know,
personality.
but hey, you know, things changed over the years, and there's still plenty of high acid.
And we do
fruit
have
out
Honey
there.
Blaze coming out, so that's going to have a little bit more acid than the Honey Royal. So any honey variety, if you guys see it at the farmer's market, any farmer's market you go to, if you see a honey variety, grab that yellow nectarine, you won't be disappointed.
All right, folks, you heard it here from Eric from Castellanos Farm in Dinuba, California. Hey, folks.
Okay, we talked about some of these last week, and Eric's got them going on at his grove and all over California, and of course, other parts of the United States that grow stone fruit as well. So look for these killer varieties, that's for sure. All right, we'll be right back.
Something big is shining onto the citrus aisle, and it's pure sun rays. This summer, Sunrays is expanding beyond grapes and mandarins to bring you a full citrus lineup. Lemons, limes, oranges, grapefruit, and tangelos. All under one radiant brand. That means less brand clutter, cleaner shelves, and a fresh, streamlined look in stores. More sunshine, less noise. And the impact goes further. Through its partnership with Save the Children, the Sunrays brand extension multiplies the good, so every snack can help make a difference. You'll taste the same Sunrays quality you know and love, now shining across every citrus variety. Plus, with one simple scan, you can explore it all. Where your citrus was grown, what varieties inside, how to discard the packaging, creative ways to snack, and more. Get ready to snack with impact in a bigger, more flavorful way this summer with Sunrays.
All right, folks, real quick before we get into my favorite peaches, one of my favorite peaches of the season. Last week we talked about the importance of buying California pears. When you go into the supermarkets, make sure it says California on there. If right now, if it says Argentina, let them know. Let the managers of the store know. Send emails to the produce directors. You can usually find that online on the store's website, or they have a thing, contact us, and it goes to the main office, and they do pay attention to it. Let them know California season has started. You don't want the imports anymore. You want the California local stuff. Look at this golden Bartlett pear. This is absolutely delicious, and they started early this year. If you didn't hear last week's episode, go back and check it out so you can hear exactly what's happening with the California pear growers, because it's very important that you hear that. That's for sure. This is the Stark Crimson. Now, a lot of folks mistake this for Star Crimson. It's not Star Crimson. It's Stark. S-T-A-R-K. Crimson. Stark Crimson. A red pear. Now, for retailers, for folks who are working in the produce industry, I'm going to show you a little video. You're going to notice that they break down very fast, very fast. So you want your displays of these to be a little bit smaller. You want to order a little bit less and put them out more often rather than loading up the whole stand with them, because they do get sunk in surface areas. They do start to break down. But boy, is this a very good eating pear. And we'll talk about pears in the California pears and some of the things that you can do with them in the future here. But right now, baby, Angela's peaches, they're that classic late season California variety developed by fruit breeder Grant Merrill in Red Bluff, California, and introduced in 1958. And they've earned a loyal following for their old-fashioned, full-bodied peach flavor. Because they brew so easily, they don't ship well. So you're not going to find them in major supermarket chains. Instead, look for them at farmers markets, specialty produce stores, where they're sold close to, pretty close to where they're grown, at least within 100 miles, 200 miles maybe, of where they're grown, sometimes 50 miles, sometimes 10 miles, it just depends. And when you're selecting the Angeles peach and any other peach, remember I showed you this before, don't press on it with your fingertips, because that's exactly how ugly bruises happen. Just cradle the peach in the palm of your hand and give it a firm but gentle squeeze. That's it. And you don't want to press in with your fingers. You want the muscles of the palm of your hand to do the pressing in. And you got a nice little give. Your peach is ready to eat, baby. If you want it a little softer, well, leave it out another day or two on your counter. If you're watching on the Rumble channel, you can see exactly how to do it. Well, I just showed you how to, anyway. If you're listening on Spotify, go to my Rumble channel, and I usually post these Fresh from the Field Fridays, maybe about 4 or 5 days after it goes up on Spotify, because that's the origin of the Produce Industry Network and Ag Life Media, and that's the source where the network puts these podcasts along with Amazon, Apple, and all the other podcast sites, apps, whatever you call them. That's where you can hear Fresh from the Field Fridays and, of course, everything else from the Produce Industry Network. So when you see the Angeles peaches on the stand, I mean, they do have this excellent interior. Where's my knife? Hang on, I'm going to grab my knife. Don't go away. Okay, I want you to see the interior of this peach. Now, there's still a lot of split pit, so I'm not quite sure if that's the case here. There we go, a nice freestone peach. Absolutely delicious Angeles peaches. And when you see these on the stand, guess what? That means the Albertas are right around the corner, and boy, oh boy, and then the O'Henrys, and then we're talking Gala apples and Gravensteins and pink pearls and all that as well. Real quick, I had to pick these, so I've got a little trick that I've been doing lately. I planted my garden a little bit late this year, not much late, but late enough. These are some of the tomatoes that I got out of my garden, and you can see I've picked them a little before their full ripeness. And I have to do this because something is out there eating my tomatoes at nighttime. So what I've done now, and you can do this too, here's a tip, is when I go to these local stores, they always have bargain bags of fruit, of apples or whatever the fruit is, for $2, $3, $1 sometimes. I buy that fruit and bring it home. And at nighttime, I'll throw 2 or 3 of them out in the backyard. That way, whatever animal is eating my tomatoes goes for that fruit that's on the ground and leaves my tomatoes alone. So I'm bribing raccoons and possums and whatever else is out there at nighttime to eat this fruit, stay away from my beautiful tomatoes. All right, folks, that's it for Fresh from the Field Fridays this week. Be sure to check out my YouTube and Rumble channels called Getting Fresh with Dan the Produce Man. And all my social media can be found at dantheproduceman.com. Until next week, this is Dan the Produce Man, reminding you that it's always best when you get it fresh.
You've been listening to Fresh from the Field Fridays with Dan the Produce Man. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes or Spotify for fresh weekly episodes. For more, follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the Produce Industry Network and at Dan the Produce Man. Until next time, we'll see you in the fields or on the horizon.